Ladies and gentlemen, happy Easter! Welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. I'm standing alongside the Polderbaan. Today in use for arrivals in southern direction as runway 18 right. As we speak, this is the only runway in use for arrivals. And runway 24, the Kaagbaan, is in use for departures. It was overcast most of the day. It is starting to open up a little. Not sure if it's going to continue or if it is going to stay somewhat cloudy. The prevailing wind is coming from the east southeast, so I'm basically more or less pointing in the direction of the wind, insofar as you can call it wind, because there's hardly a breeze. In the middle of the screen you can see the windsock. It is moving a bit in this direction, so there is a bit of crosswind from the left for these pilots who are landing today, but you can tell by the windsock it's almost flat. There isn't a lot of wind going on at the moment. So what's in store for today? Well, first of all, the Emirates A380, it got delayed and it's still underway. Expected to arrive around 4 p.m. local time, last time I checked. Now I also saw a couple of 747s underway, expected to arrive later this afternoon. The A380 coming to Amsterdam today is a special livery. It's the Journey to the Future livery, also depicted in the thumbnail of today's stream. Now, temperature-wise, it's very nice. I thought it would be much colder. Back at home, it was way cloudier than it was over here already. At the moment, it is approximately 12 degrees centigrade, so that is approximately 54 degrees Fahrenheit. And with only a slight breeze, it is very good weather to do some outdoor activities on this first Easter day. So there's a lot of people moving up and down here along the cycling path that I'm standing next to. Now it's always crowded over here during the weekends if the weather is a bit decent. Just to give you an idea, lots of people on one side, and then on the other side, as far as the eye can see, people, groups of people, families, lots of people with young children. Excellent weather and an excellent day to do some plane spotting. So here is an E2 Embraer 195, hovering and touching down. not taking the first exit, but continuing further down the runway. Hey Bart, are you also here? I haven't seen you, man, my friend. Where have you gone? I totally missed that. Kuni Linux, happy Easter. All other viewers who have in the meantime joined us, happy Easter to you and yours as well. Opie, checking in from Panama. Goedemorgen, happy Easter. Roadhog, good afternoon, happy Easter. Yorkshire Biker, good afternoon, my friend. Good to see you again. Happy Easter, my friend. And Opie says it must be relatively warm there. I saw people in shirt sleeves at some cafes. Well, it is actually. If it wasn't for the pesky wind, with the sun being out every now and again, I would be inclined to take off my jacket as well, but you're also a bit more active when setting up everything. So now that I'm standing here statically, I am glad that I still have my jacket on. But if you're walking or cycling, it is a lovely temperature to do that without a jacket on. Still a bit cold though, but particularly if you're walking and you keep active, I think you'll find that the weather is very convenient. Although statically sitting on a terrace at a cafe, unless you're out of the wind and in the sun, probably still a bit cold this time of year, at least today. Now, it's more that way. Marcel de Boer and Jan Hendricks, goedemiddag, good afternoon, happy Easter. Me, myself, good afternoon, good to see you. Matt Taylor also checking in, and Veerle Westerhuis, hi all, hi to you Veerle, hope you're doing well. Now, hardly any time to look down on my phone and see all your messages, because you miss something. In a heartbeat. So the Easyjet taking the first exit over here. Let's quickly turn around. As this is the only runway for arrivals, it is rather busy. Back-to-back action, as you guys can see. One of Transavia's many 737s. Now it too taking the first exit, which is right over here. Vacating the runway in time for the next arriving traffic. Just about visible in the distance. It is a bit hazy, as you guys can see, so it's a bit hard for me to see where the next traffic is, particularly if it's still far out. And the camera also has a bit difficulty finding and keeping the focus. Now, where was I? Veerle Westerhuis, Matt Taylor. Let's see. Jerry Donnelly, good morning, my friend. Welcome back and happy Easter. Hope you're well, mate. Ewald Malherbe also checking in. Elof. It is a bit coolish. It is sunny. but there's hardly any wind. It's about 12 degrees centigrade at the moment, so that is approximately, what did I say again? I'm not that good in math, so 30 plus 2 times 12, 24. So it's approximately 54 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. We have a little bit of wind blowing from the east, southeast I should say, mostly east. Only a few knots. So there is a little bit of crosswind for these airplanes from the left. But really it's nothing to write home about. Yesterday the wind was harder, and the day before yesterday certainly. We are still under the influence of a big area of high pressure over here in mainland Europe, although there is a depression with precipitation coming this way, expected to arrive in the Netherlands later tomorrow, in the second half of the afternoon. So I'm looking to go out for a live stream tomorrow morning. Make sure that weather conditions are as favorable as can be. And from what I heard on the weather yesterday, coming week is not going to be that good. Oh yeah, it is still spring. Okay. Swiss A220 a little hesitant to touch down. Massive engines, look at that. And such a sleek profile. So, quickly back where traffic is coming from. Seems like there is a, what is that, a 737, and I haven't had time to look on flight radar yet. Hey there Goosey, happy Easter. Oh, good to see you again, hope you're doing well. So Goosey, I did some groceries earlier today, and I almost forgot that we talked about latex gloves, but I was in the supermarket and they did have some latex gloves over in the non-food section. So I did buy a pack of 20 disposable latex gloves. Even have them with me because I was under the impression that it was going to be a cold day today, but now that I'm standing here, I'm standing barehanded actually. I did test it at home, putting the latex gloves on. I even cut out the fingertips for the index fingers so that I can easily take off my outer glove and operate my phone if need be. So hopefully the weather will only get better from now on, but if we do get colder weather at some point, I will be ready for it. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how well a layer of latex glove will insulate my always freezing hands. Stephen Morley, good afternoon, checking in from Forest of Bowland. If I pronounced that correctly. Now, incoming is a 777 from KLM. We're still running behind on catching up with the chat. Haven't had a look on flight radar just yet. A little bit of a wheelie. Beautiful. Now, let's see what's next. Also, have a look on flight radar. Good day, Airport Holland. Marcel, standing behind me. Well, I guess you passed me by already. Yeah. I'm a bit behind in reading all the chats. Hey, Gosse, goedemiddag. Rick, goedemiddag. Happy Easter. Marco, hoi hoi. So, let's have a look. Inbound at the moment is KLM flight 1588, inbound from Naples, 737-800, 16 years old. First flight was in February 2007, and behind it is going to be a KLM Embraer 190 inbound from Milan, 13 years old. First flight was in October 2009. Pilots of the 737 also forgoing to take the first exit. Keep driving on the runway a bit further. And this is probably the second exit. Now, if you guys look in the distance to the on the horizon, you can see it is a bit hazy. Visibility is okay, but it's not the best it could be. Makes it a bit difficult to see all the planes far ahead in advance, but they are still visible soon enough to at least see them on their last bit of their arrival. So on the highway, motorbike, quite loud. Maybe you guys picked it up as well on the microphone. Ooh, very high angle of attack. Or is it just me? Did they try to lower the last couple of meters by almost stalling? I did once see a clip on YouTube. I think it was a Ryanair airplane that just before the main landing gear touched down, they applied the reverse thrust. It's a somewhat unorthodox means to reduce the speed even further. Not sure if that is a practice that is authorized, if it's in the standard procedures that under certain special conditions you're allowed to do that, but remarkable to see. But it flared a lot, absolutely, you guys saw it too, it wasn't just me. Hey there Martin, good afternoon. Happy Easter, hope you're well mate. And once again, checking my phone for just a few seconds, particularly when you're zoomed in all the way, and you'll lose focus of the airplanes. So even though my phone is only 30 centimeters away from my camera screen, it is out of field of view, so I have to look down. A lovely Neo. And Richard Gamesnell asks if it is possible to reach this runway by foot. Well, it is possible to do that. There is a cycling path over here. A lot of people are walking over here, but you could also walk over here, but it depends on where you're coming from, of course. If you live in Hoofddorp, then you can do it by foot. If you live further out, then it's probably best to take public transportation to somewhere near the runway, and the last bit you can walk. But it's definitely a place where you can come by foot, definitely. So let's have a look on flight radar, see what's coming in. I see a Dreamliner from KLM, inbound from Mexico City. First, a TUI 7378 MAX, and also the A320 from Royal Jordanian, and by the looks of it, first also an A321 Neo from Egypt Air, inbound from Cairo, and the Dreamliner, the 7879 Dreamliner, inbound from Mexico City from KLM, is looking to become number 4. Further out, I can also see that there's a 777-200 from KLM, inbound from Rio de Janeiro, coming in. Zooming out a bit further. Also an Etihad Dreamliner flying over Dutch airspace already. So, a couple of interesting airplanes are on the move, soon to arrive over here. Let me quickly go back to the camera. So this would be the TUI 7378 MAX. Max taking the first exit over here. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, this runway is the latest addition. It was built in 2003, and it is the furthest removed from the main platform area. So these airplanes that touch down over here still have like a 15-minute taxi before they're at the gate, depending on where they need to be. Complicating factor at the moment is that runway 18 center 36 center, which lies between the main platform area and this runway, is still closed for maintenance. Expected to reopen again in the beginning of May. Initially it was expected to reopen again mid-April, but due to delays they now hope that it's going to reopen again in the beginning of May. Normally speaking, if the runway is in use or at least not being renovated, you could bypass and shortcut by crossing the runway in the middle, thereby bypassing a lot of additional taxi space that you need. But now these airplanes first need to go all the way down to the south runway threshold, go around the runway and then go back up again. If, for instance, their gate is on the north side of the terminal building or on the east side, they could also opt to go around the terminal building on the south side, but they still have a significant taxi then. Lovely bicolor combination there on the front side of the engine. Which carrier was it that had that as well yesterday? Was it United? I think it was United. Also, one of their planes had a bicolor engine, what's it called? Looking for the right word. Casing, I think. Rick asks if I searched for eggs this morning. Well, I didn't have to, Rick. I already had some eggs lying in the fridge, fortunately. Still have to prepare them. Today is the last day of my diet, so today I'm still restricted and disciplined in my calorie intake, but I did already do some shopping for some tasty food items that I am looking forward to eat. One of them is gevulde eieren, as we call it in Dutch. Filled eggs, literally translated into English. It is a very basic recipe, but I'm also a very basic guy, so that matches up. You hard boil eggs, peel them, cut them in half, take out the yolks, and the yolks you mix together with a certain kind of ketchup that we have in the Netherlands. We call it curry. It is with spices. It's not so much curry as Indian curry, but it is ketchup with several spices through it. Mix that with the yolks and also some mayonnaise. You get a sort of paste, and then you can fill the eggs again in the parts where the yolk would be, and it is very tasty, I should say. So I'm very much looking forward to make those, maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. Nice and noisy and close up. That's how I like my Dreamliners. Erwin, 28 balloons, cloudy but nice. Did you also take some pictures? Always nice. It was still relatively good weather yesterday, even when it got more cloudy, but it was still, I think, very good weather for hot air ballooning. So I'm happy you had a nice what is it? Balloon spotting? Marcelo, hello. Did I already say hi or did I forget you? Apologies if I did. N4865G asks whether or not I will be streaming tomorrow. I will, my friend, I will. I'm looking to go out tomorrow morning local time, as tomorrow afternoon over here precipitation is predicted. So I'm looking to go out early tomorrow morning. Maybe start the stream around 9 or 9:30 a.m. local time. Monday already one of my regular streaming days these days. So not only tomorrow but next week Monday I'm looking to go out as well, although I almost forgot I still have to bring in my MacBook for repair of the faulty USB-C port, one of the two that doesn't charge but works well normally otherwise. So I was thinking to bring it in on a Monday. I am unable to stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and most of the time on Thursdays as well. So I figured if it only takes a couple of days before they have it fixed and I'm able to pick it up again, I don't lose any potential streaming days. So given that it's Easter this week and given that it's King's Day on a Thursday 2 weeks from now, I am contemplating bringing in my laptop next week on the beginning of the week. And I do have another laptop, another MacBook, but it doesn't have the Firewire, or what is it called, Thunderbolt. That also acts as USB-C, or USB-C acts as that other port. I don't know exactly, but anyway, so let me see. At the moment still nothing visible. Also by just looking, okay, we will have to wait a few more minutes, but I think the first plane to arrive is going to be a Dreamliner from Etihad, inbound from Abu Dhabi, 787-9 Dreamliner, now flying base just over, I cannot read, permanent. Yeah, so it is nearby. We'll be coming in view. Well, we won't be able to see it because it's too hazy. It's coming from the right, then it will turn final, and we will be able to see it once it gets closer by. From where it's at the moment, it's not visible, I'm afraid. And not far behind it is a Transavia 737-800 that is also coming this way, so bear with me, folks. In a few moments the next couple of planes are coming. I can also see arriving traffic from the southwest. Another Transavia flying in the vicinity just along the coast of The Hague. Also coming closer by. Looking further west, I can see that there's a 777 from Qatar Cargo, inbound from Chicago, also coming this way. ETA of 15 minutes, so have to wait a bit, but it is also coming this way. Hey Kat, good morning, happy Easter, good to see you again, hope you're well. So it's a bit of a lull at the moment, which allows me some time to take another sip of my coffee. Before it gets busy again. Now, I already wrote a comment below the stream of yesterday, but I will tell you guys in person as well. Apologies for what happened yesterday. I think it was an operator error. I was checking to see if everything was still working, and I have a laptop tent, and behind my laptop is my ATEM mini switcher, and connected to that is the receiver of my DJI mic, which I use to transmit the voice over mic signal to the switcher. And I think because my laptop tent is not too spacious, I have to close the lid somewhat to reach, and I think it didn't close fully, but I think it closed more enough for the laptop to start going into hibernation or something. And even though the laptop didn't go into hibernation, actually didn't go into hibernation, I think the lid closed enough for the stream to end, and I couldn't restart it again. So I think that is what happened. I tried looking and going through the settings to see if maybe I can override the sleep mode, but even when I supposedly turn it off and I close the lid of my laptop, everything still goes out. So if I do bring in my laptop in the Apple Store next week or so, it's also something I will ask about. So for now, for the time being, I just have to be more careful. It was probably just an operator error. So hopefully it will be a one-off occurrence, as all of my previous errors have been. I try to make every mistake only once, and if I'm able to do that, then you're already far ahead of the curve. Yesterday or the day before yesterday, we were talking about sugar beets, and standing here I can better show you buildings, and the two towers you see in the middle, that is in a place called Halfweg, half road, halfway, literally translated into English. And that makes sense because it is approximately midway between Amsterdam on the one end, which is approximately over there, and then there is Haarlem, which is over there. So Halfweg, approximately in the middle. And the two towers I was pointing at and am zooming back into, if I'm not mistaken, that used to be an old sugar factory, sugar refinery, where sugar beets were refined into crystallized sugar. So maybe the tractors with the sugar beets that were harvested over here in this area went to over there. I don't know if it is still active as a sugar refinery at this moment. What you often see is that those old industrial buildings get used for meetings and stuff and workshops. So I don't know for sure, but I do believe that those two towers are part of the old sugar factory. Maybe it's still a sugar factory at the moment. So that's at least where all the harvested sugar beets are going to. Now, unfortunately not the Manchester City blue special livery, but I have to say the standard livery of Etihad is also quite lovely. At least that's what I think. Now, if I recall correctly, there were a few narrow bodies following this airplane, but there were also some bigger jets underway. 777-200 inbound from Rio de Janeiro, and a few others as well. Come on, really? Kathleen, what are you doing? Another 10 AMS Live memberships gifted by Kathleen. Yesterday you were on a roll as well. I feel almost guilty that you are giving so many memberships out. I don't want you to spend money that you might need for other things, so make sure. I hope that you can afford this, because really you shouldn't have. But it is a very, very, very sweet gesture. Thank you so much, and welcome all new members to AMS Live's Aurora Sky Lounge. Alright. Kuni Linux mentions that in an hour there's a 747 from KLM coming in. I thought I saw that there was a KLM cargo or Martinair cargo with a KLM livery coming this way from, I think it was Miami. And if I looked correctly, ooh, a bit wobbly. If I look correctly, I thought I also saw a Singapore Airlines 747 coming this way, although I don't recall when the expected time of arrival was exactly. Might be a bit late, between 6 and 7 p.m. In which case, I don't know for sure if I am going to stick around for it. So also, I'm planning on going out again tomorrow early. Means that the alarm clock will go early. But yeah, there were a couple of 747s underway. I did see that. Now, of course, the A380 is also delayed today and is expected to arrive, I think, between 3:30 and 4, something like that. So, let's see. Inbound now, a CRJ from Lufthansa, inbound from Munich. CRJ 900, 16 years old, first flight was in August 2006. Yesterday we saw a couple of CRJs as well. I think the CRJ is the only airplane type currently flying on to Schiphol that still has the engines mounted to the fuselage in the back. If I am mistaken, by all means do correct me in the chat. But Lufthansa, SAS, I think those are also the two only operators currently flying these types still. At least to Schiphol. Now, I think that the bigger jets are also not far away anymore. Let me quickly have a look at flight radar again. I was zoomed out a little, but yeah, so first up is a Boeing 737-800 from TUI in the Family Life Hotels livery. Oh, that looks, if I look at the picture, all black. Oh, that's a very nice... Oh, heads up people, there is a special livery inbound and I think it's a looker. It's going to be a looker. So, only a short flight inbound from Brussels, 15 years old, first flight was in June 2007 and now almost turning final is the Qatar 777 freighter inbound from Chicago. And that is a 3-year-old airplane, first flight was in August 2019. Now folks, if the picture I saw of this airplane on flight radar just now is correct, it is a very beautiful, almost all black livery, something you don't see every day. I think Air New Zealand also has black liveries. Really something you don't see over here that often. Beautiful. Where's it dark blue? What a lovely livery. Pooh Bear, or at least a cartoon resembling Winnie the Pooh. On the rear side. Beautiful. First time I've seen this one, but definitely a looker. Alright, so we are now in awaiting of the 777 freighter from Qatar, inbound from Chicago. Should become visible shortly. And Goosey, welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Thank you so much for your support, my friend. Really, really amazing how this channel is growing with such a lovely crowd as well. You hope for something like that, but you never expect it beforehand. Let's see. Janet O says, yes, Air New Zealand have the black livery. Beautiful plane, the TUI. I fully agree. It's a pity that not more planes are in black. I mean, if you look over here, I don't know if it's the same abroad, but if you look at cars, for instance, here in the Netherlands, the dominant colors are gray and black, and perhaps also dark blue, perhaps white every now and then. Hardly any other colors. So black is a very popular color for cars, but you hardly ever see airplanes in a black livery. Alright, so following this 777 is going to be a BA A319 inbound from London Heathrow. But first, let's zoom in on this Qatar triple freighter inbound from Chicago. Little bit of squeakiness in the brakes here and there. Thus far, all of the Embraers we've seen haven't had any squeaky brakes yet. Maybe they all got their maintenance done. So let's see. Don't see the next plane. Oh, yeah, just about. I can make out the landing lights that just turned on. So, inbound next, BA flight 438 A319. Inbound from London Heathrow. She's 22 years old. First flight was in June 2000, and she's being followed by a Boeing 737 700 from KLM, inbound from Split, KLM flight 1946, 11 years old. First flight was in May 2011, and after that we will see an Embraer 190 and a Boeing 737-800. So, a couple of narrow bodies first. Let me pinch and zoom out a little, but there is another triple coming this way. I can also see a dream. No, that's not a Dreamliner, sorry. So, two triples inbound from China by the looks of it. There are a few heavies underway. Let's zoom in. Taking the first exit by the looks of it. Spoilers are going to be lowered anytime. Anytime now. Yep. And back to the gate it is for the airplane. Now, quickly turning around because the next plane is about to touch down already. Hence the quick exit from the BA that went before it. You can see that sometimes air traffic is very tightly packed together by ATC. So not only outbound traffic can sometimes be back-to-back action, the same goes for inbound. Although I do believe it's going to it is going to slow down again once runway 18 center 36 center is reopening in a few weeks. Obviously then Schiphol can go back to operating parallel departures and parallel landings. That does mean that it will get a bit less busy during the peak moments. The upside, of course, being that runway 18 center 36 center is not too far in the distance, so we can also see traffic departing from that runway or landing on it relatively well from over here. Better at least than traffic landing on 24, 06 I should say. Right, so inbound now. Embraer 190 inbound from Belgrade. KLM flight 1906, the airplane 14 years old. First flight was in November 2008. And let me quickly go back to the camera. So little time to do all these things. And two ducks just landed as well over here, right in front of me. So one duck over here and the other duck over there. These are more easily identifiable as male ducks. The one yesterday I wasn't sure about because this is what male ducks over here typically look like. I could have sworn that the other one yesterday accompanying the lady duck did have a different color scheme with its feathers than this one, but I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm by no means a bird expert. Now in the meantime, a KLM 737 just touching down, doing a bit of a wheelie as well, high speed, foregoing the first exit. You'd think that they are incentivized to get to the gate as quickly as possible because these KLM pilots very often keep up the speed. Now obviously they know how long the taxi still is from over here, so that could also be a reason. Next up is a Boeing 737-900 inbound from Porto, KLM flight 1712, flight of 2 hours and 16 minutes. The airplane, 21 years old, first flight was in August 2001, and then behind it is going to be an Airbus A380 from Easyjet, and then the first of the two 777 freighters inbound from China. Alright. Michael Janssen from Leer in Germany saying hi. Guten Tag, herzlich willkommen. And happy Easter. Also a very gentle touchdown of the main landing gear. And here too a little bit of a wheelie. And also high speed. Maybe it's just company policy. Anyway, back to the north with the camera it is. Ah, Lance says there were Slavonian grebes on the Dike Canal last week. And happy Easter Oster thingy. Rich from Australia says Fugin Dutch duck. Well, you guys probably know a lot more about ducks than I do, and birds in general. Opie has to go again. Well, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon, maybe tomorrow, if you're still up or already up by then. And if not, hopefully I'll see you again at one of the other upcoming streams. And enjoy Easter. Now for those of you tuning in later, welcome to AMS Live. First of all, my name is Boy and this is the Polderbaan. Currently in use for landings to the south, hence runway 18 rights. You guys can see in the background it is cloudy, almost completely overcast. We did have a few moments of sunshine earlier today, but now it's completely overcast again. K2, the birth controller, making sure no unwanted babies are lingering around the the platform. Wind is blowing a few knots from the east-southeast, which means that there's a mostly crosswind and a little bit of headwind for these airplanes. Only a few knots wind in total, so nothing to write home about. Wind, the crosswind is coming from the left for these airplanes. Now in terms of temperature, now hopefully you guys heard that as well as I did over here. If the sound, either the voiceover sound or the ambient sounds, if there's something wrong or with the video feed, by all means please let me know in the chat. Then I can do a round of checks. As I was saying, temperature wise it is about 12 or 13 degrees centigrade over here. That translates to approximately 55-ish degrees Fahrenheit. No precipitation is expected for today. However, tomorrow in the second half of the afternoon we are expecting rain to drift in from the west. I am looking to go out tomorrow morning to do another live stream. tomorrow morning local time. We'll see how the runway usage will be by then. Yeah, well guys, you guys misunderstood me first. The first time round you thought I was saying birth controller while I was actually saying bird controller. So now I'm just saying birth controller intentionally, of course. Right, so inbound now. Embraer 175 from KLM, inbound from Bologna. 5 years old, first flight was in November 2017. Behind it is going to be a Boeing 737-800 inbound from Helsinki from KLM. And that is a 12-year-old plane. First flight was in November 2010. Quickly taking a sip of coffee from my thermos. Use the power zoom to quickly go to the subject. And just in time. Very gentle landing. Now hopefully tomorrow there will be a bit more wind than today. Not so much that I am fond of wind, but since I placed the microfiber ski goggles pouch over my microphone, shotgun microphone tube, to provide an extra barrier to slow down the wind, hopefully provide crackling. Ever since I have put it around the microphone, wind conditions have been relatively calm thus far. I was looking back to earlier streams yesterday evening to see what the wind conditions were as described in the ticker during previous streams, and also listening to when I heard crackling. I think I need wind of 15 or so knots, 12 to 15 knots, and stand right along this runway to be able to do a proper test to see if it makes a difference. But I have to say, so far since putting it on, I haven't heard the crackling again, so fingers crossed that it's going to stay that way. In the meantime, back-to-back super sticker and super chat action from Angelo and also from Paul. Thank you so much, you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Coffee money inbound, absolutely. Right. Let me go back to the camera quickly. Now. Another KLM that keeps up the speed as it passes us by. We're going to take the first exit and continuing on the runway. Cannot even zoom in maximally to show those two birds diving for food probably. So the zoom is too strong. Can zoom in. Let me see how much detail I can show you. Take into consideration I'm not shooting in 1080p, but the camera can do 4K. Alright, another Airbus. and it is a Vueling by the looks of it. So, let me quickly turn around the camera, because one of the two 777 freighters inbound from China is approaching. Let me also quickly look at flight radar. This is China Southern Cargo, flight 2571, 777 freighter inbound from Guangzhou, if I pronounce that somewhat correctly. The airplane 13 years old, first flight was in October 2009. I always like how the engines wind down when they stop using the thrust reverser, so woo! I think with the Doppler effect it even gets amplified. It's probably less pronounced when you're standing further to the front, but it's always these 777 freighters, and I think also the 300s. I don't hear it on the 200s as much, but yeah, plane nerding time. So, let's see what's up next. It is a Neo from Pegasus, inbound from Istanbul, A321 Neo, brand new, delivered May last year, so almost 1 year old. Behind it, an Embraer 175 from KLM, inbound from Rennes. That is 5 years old, first flight January 2018. Looking further up north, only narrow bodies for now. I do remember that there was a second 777 freighter inbound from China not too far away when looking at flight radar earlier today. We're still waiting for the A380. I haven't been able to check where it is at the moment. Maybe somebody can give us an update in the chat. So the A380, I think they left later than normal. So I thought that their ETA was approximately around 4 p.m. local time. We are expecting a Martinair freighter 747 KLM cargo livery coming in from Miami, if I recall correctly. And there was also a Singapore Airlines 747 underway from Asia. I don't remember its ETA exactly. It was somewhere around the end of the afternoon, if not beginning of the evening. Now I do see that there's an Embraer 190 inbound to runway 27. So it seems that they have opened the Buitenvelderbaan as well at the moment for arrivals. That's not good news, because if the A380 from Dubai is coming in and 27 is open, then it is very unlikely that we are going to see it land in front of us. Only time will tell, but it is an ominous sign if you ask me. Then again, it all depends, of course, on if the runway is still open by then. Because if it isn't, it's just going to come this way. No reversers, relatively high speed. Also not a lot of noise. And the lighting does provide for a nice reflection on the top of the livery, or maybe I'm just looking at reflection on my camera screen, but I think at least over here it looks nice. Now there are still a lot of people on the move over here. Also, if I zoom in the distance, you can see it. You can tell weather is decent, the runway is open, people are off, want to go out, maybe burn some of the calories from all the Easter eggs that they have eaten already. I thought about picking up a bag of chocolate Easter eggs this morning when I was going to the Albert Heijn supermarket. And normally you have those big kilo bags with an assortment of filled chocolate Easter eggs, but they only had a few left, and it were those smaller, more expensive bags and not the big kilo bags that were normally always on sale next to the DIY cash registers, where you can scan the items yourself and not have to stand in line, or at least that's what you hope. But they were already gone. So I think a lot of people already ate a lot of chocolate eggs well before Easter. So of course those calories need to be burnt off some way or another. Inbound now, Easyjet flight 28678. Whoever thought of coming up with 5-digit flight numbers over there? Crazy. So inbound from London Gatwick, 15 years old, first flight June 2007, and after that we will see an Embraer 190 from KLM. Inbound from Birmingham, 13 years old, first flight March 2010. Now also, if you look in the water, only a few small waves, not a whole lot of windy action at the moment. So this is approximately what you would see if you didn't use a camera and were just standing along the runway. It really helps to have a camera that can zoom in quite far. It allows you to get a better picture than with your bare eyes would be possible. So in the meantime, the sun is coming out from behind the clouds, if only for a moment. There's a small hole, and there she is, the sun. Or at least I was told that that thing over there is called the sun. Hardly ever see it. Apparently it shines all the time during daytime. Who knew? Alright, so back to the planes. Again, Embraer 190 inbound from Birmingham. You can see that that patch of blue sky is moving and makes for some sunshine over there in the distance, in between the airplane and us. Unfortunately, that hole in the clouds was the exception to the rule. Mostly overcast over here. Although that is better for me as the camera operator because there's less reflection on my camera screen, so I can see the subjects much better. But it's almost mid-April and I'm still standing here with my winter parka on, and the only thing that I don't have on is the gloves. Although my left hand is getting a bit cold because I keep it elevated at on the zoom rocker every time, constantly. Meanwhile, a chopper motor is coming over the cycling path, which is a cycling path and not a motorcycling path. No motorbike expert, so I have no idea what kind of motor it is. It does have the rumble that I recognize from Harley Davidson's, but whether it is one, I don't know for sure. Maybe Yorkshire biker, assuming you're a motorcycle bike enthusiast, can tell me, and probably many others as well. I can barely keep Airbuses and Boeings apart from each other, so wouldn't be able to tell you that. Okay, Yorkshire Biker says it has the looks of a Harley. Well, I would think it also sounds much like a Harley, but again, I'm by no means an expert in motorbikes. Although back when Valentino Rossi was still riding in the MotoGP, I did check that instead of Formula 1 because Formula 1 was getting a bit dull, not a lot of overtaking, and if they did overtake, it was mostly because of pit stop strategy. And at least with Valentino Rossi, you could always see some overtaking. Even if he was starting from behind, he would still manage to pass the entire field and end as the winner. So many people told me, knowing you would probably like motor riding. Why don't you get your motorbike driving license? And I thought, well, I probably would like it, but you're exposed to the elements and you have to be so careful because in a car you have well, at least a buffer when you hit something or something hits you, and I would be very afraid that one little mistake, and it doesn't even have to be your own mistake, of course, and yeah, then it's game over. So that's what so far has kept me from getting a bike and my biker's license, although I'm pretty sure I would like it. I did have a scooter back when I was younger. That also went relatively fast. A Gilera Runner. Bought it and it was a second hand and it was already fully tuned to go 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles per hour. Had a racing exhaust and the inner workings were tuned differently. Now the upside of that machine was that it had a very stiff suspension, so even if you were taking turns, you would be stable. A friend of mine had a more cheaply built scooter, and if I took that for a ride and was taking a corner, I had to slow down so much more because it had very weak suspension and you would hobble up and down constantly, feeling very unsafe. But yeah, So I know a little bit about scooters, but motorcycles not so much. Now in the meantime, we are waiting for this 737-800 to touch down. Inbound from Barcelona. Applying the reversers. And despite that, still keeping a relatively high speed. Also staying on the runway. Taking a later exit, undoubtedly. Now I can just about make out the next airplane due to the lights being on. Let me turn around the camera and also give you guys some background information. Inbound is another Embraer from KLM, inbound from London City, KLM flight 972, 11 years old. First flight was in January 2012, and behind it is going to be an Embraer E2-195, inbound from Lyon in France, flight 1416, 1 year old. First flight October 2021. Now let me zoom out a bit. Bad news in terms of the second runway still being open. The good news, however, is that I see that the Emirates A380 is flying in the vicinity of Enkhuizen and Hoorn and is very much looking to come this way. So I think we will be able to see the Journey to the Future special livery Emirates A380 in 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. It doesn't seem to be following the course to land on runway 27. So that's the silver lining. It looks like we will be able to see the Emirates A380 after all. Now the lights of the next plane are already visible. So yeah, unfortunately, two runways open for arrivals at this moment, but the upside is we are going to see the yeah, exactly, Yorkshire Biker. You have to assume that you're invisible. That's exactly what you need to do. Maybe if I get a bit older and even wiser, I might still consider getting my license and buying a bicycle, motorbike that is. Because I think my friends are right when they say that they think it would be something that I like a lot. I also very much enjoyed having a scooter. Until last summer I was living in Amsterdam. I have lived there for 8 years. I had a small apartment that I bought, and last year I moved back to my place of birth. And in the early days, because I was living a little outside of the city center, I did also have a moped scooter, a Vespa no less. Unfortunately, it got stolen one day from the basement box when I forgot to put it on all its locks except for its steering lock. I was under the impression that the glass in the entrance, the entrance door was safety glass, but it turned out to be just single glass, which you could easily break with a brick. Now, there was a neighbor who had cameras pointed in that direction, so I had camera footage of the whole incident. 3 guys, took them less than 10 minutes before they took the thing and were away. Even their faces, easily recognizable if you know them. So I went to the police, had a USB stick with the footage from the neighbor, and basically reported the theft and never heard from it again. Now, the upside was that the guy from the insurance company was also into scooters, and I was a DIY. I did all my maintenance as a DIY. I did it all myself. I have an uncle, he's a retired car mechanic, so he knows engines and also motor and scooter stuff. So I could tell the guy from the insurance company what I did in terms of maintenance. I could even show him the receipts of the wholesaler where you could buy all the spare parts and like belts and all the weights for the variator for the automatic transmission. So I was able to easily convince the man that I had a scooter that was like new, so they did pay out handsomely, relatively speaking. And since the city of Amsterdam was also going to introduce an obligation to wear a helmet for also the scooters that were only allowed to go 25 kilometers per hour, as was mine, I was thinking about getting rid of it regardless. So inbound now is a Boeing 737-800. Where is... Okay, so the third plane is going to be the Journey to the Future Emirates A380. Second after this one. Still a lot of people over here, people coming and going throughout the afternoon. Now, don't see the next plane just yet, but it soon will become visible. It's going to be an Embraer 175 from KLM, inbound from Genoa in Italy. 5 years old, first flight in June 2017, and after that we are going to see the Emirates Journey to the Future A380 inbound from Dubai. The Emirates A380, 9 years old, first flight was in April 2013. Now, a lot of the traffic is also going to runway 27. However, the KLM / Martinair 747 inbound from Miami seems to be coming this way. We won't know for sure yet, because it can also fly east on a higher altitude and then follow the traffic pattern for 27, but as this is the first runway it's going to encounter, given the prevailing wind, it's probably going to come this way. Current altitude is still 7,500 feet, so it's hard to say yet. Hey, Tony's sitting next to me on the concrete bench. Good day. So, let me quickly go back to operating the camera. A very gentle touchdown. Maybe even the butteriest of all buttery landings. Now I'm going to go back with the camera because there is our king. Well, we have two kings over here in the Netherlands. We have the A380 and of course Willem Alexander. So there she is in the Journey to the Future livery. If you don't have to, don't go away after this Emirates A380 has landed, because there's also a Queen coming very shortly. Martinair KLM cargo livery, operated by Martinair, inbound from Miami. But first, the daily Emirates A380 800 Super. Not the gentlest of landings. Still, I find it remarkable that this big, heavy airplane only has two engines that are able to reverse thrust. Now, apparently the brakes on the landing gear itself are strong enough that it can manage without four reversers, but you'd think that if you already placed two reversers on two of the engines, why not do it on all four? Unless the additional maintenance costs are so high, because the brakes might be able to brake such a heavy weight, the brakes on the landing gear, but I cannot imagine that they don't wear out much quicker than if they had four thrust reversers. But well, that's just me thinking out loud. Ah, okay. Steven says because they were scared of debris flying everywhere outside the runway. Okay. But the wingspan of the A380 is not that much wider than of the 747, is it? And the 747 has four reversers on all of its engines. Or are the outer two engines placed so much wider than on the 747 that it is outside of the runway width? Hey man.
Vergeten dat Pasen is.
Wat zei je?
Ik was even vergeten dat Pasen is.
Ja, echt hè? Meanwhile, Bart from V1 Aviation just walked up to me, so he forgot about it being Easter.
Yeah.
all of the people over here. Even a Harley Davidson bike riding over the cycling path earlier. Yeah. Didn't you hear? Oh, okay. We was coming from the main Spottersplatz and was driving up north to Boesingenliede over the cycling path, and it certainly wasn't a police bike, I can tell you that. Well, they were driving slowly, and it was, I think, a Harley Davidson. So you could hear it well in advance, even from behind, but still. But I haven't seen any police yet. Normally they are patrolling as well regularly, but...
Maybe they're coming soon. Or maybe they're trying to go over the bike path.
Or maybe they are looking for Easter eggs or something.
There's a lot of Easter eggs to find here.
Exactly. So, folks, we just witnessed the arrival of the king, and now we are seeing the first queen of the day.
Oh, there's even more motorcycles.
And yeah, even more. This is a different motorbike, and also a scooter coming this way. Well, they are allowed over here, but motorbikes not so much. Okay, man, take care.
Yeah,
Happy Easter.
You too, man.
Thanks, man. So it is the KLM cargo livery. Officially it is operated by Martinair, I think. Lovely wheelie, look at that. Not a very loud landing, but definitely a pretty one. Now, unfortunately, I cannot zoom in any further than this. This is the maximum that I can zoom in with this camera. Spoilers down. The flaps are also going to retract shortly. I think they might already be retracting them. Of it, they are. Yep. So this airplane still has a 10-15 minute taxi at least ahead of him. Her. Going to the cargo area. The platform, the main platform area, which is located on both sides of runway 0624, the Kaagbaan. There are a couple of logistics companies on the north side and also on the south side a lot, which is where back in the day the official Spottersplatz along the Kaagbaan used to be. They closed it down years ago already and instead built some logistics companies. Now in the foreground you can see the windsock. You can see that there's wind. It seems that the direction has changed a little, maybe a bit more southeast instead of east-southeast. Still not a whole lot of wind. You might hear it on the microphone, but so there's crosswind from the left for the airplanes that are touching down, although not a whole lot, because wind in total is not very hard. It is picking up a little, I get the idea. It did certainly change. Let's go to our reference point, the chimneys of the electricity, the power plant in the west of Amsterdam port area. Earlier the smoke was blowing more in line with where we are standing, and now you can see that it is more turned to the south. It's also increased a little bit, still nothing to write home about. We won't see any extreme crabbing, and we are certainly not expecting any go-arounds because of the wind. You can see that the airplane is pointing a bit more to the left for it than normally would be the case. Most of the time you see that they are pointing towards us because there is crosswind coming from the right, because the prevailing direction of the wind over here, certainly along the coast, is west-southwest. So most of the time you see the airplane nose pointing straight towards you and then turning to the left last minute before touching down, or after the main landing gear has touched down. This time around the wind is coming from a different direction. Now, don't see anything coming just yet, so let me have a look at flight radar and see what is coming. Boeing 737-800 from KLM and from Transavia, coming in from Dublin and Fuerteventura. A lot of traffic inbound via runway 27. Zooming out a little bit. Don't see a lot of heavies just yet. And there is, oh wait, there is a 747 from Suparna coming in, just crossing into Dutch airspace. But yeah, I think as long as this runway stays open, no, 27 stays open, it is likely that it's going to land over there. So hopefully runway 27 will close again shortly. Although I am afraid that we're not going to be so lucky.
Airbus, dan zit je gewoon heel luxe in. Veetje voor je neus, maar ja goed, dan zit je op.
Let's see. Steven says Atlas 747 1 hour out, now at Land's End. So there are more 747s coming this way. The question is, how long is runway 27 going to stay open for arrivals? Now obviously all traffic coming from the west is still likely to land over here. But for instance, the Suparna 747 that is now flying in the northeast of the country, I'm afraid it's highly likely that it's going to land on runway 27 as long as it's open. Of course, I will be keeping my fingers crossed while trying to operate the camera the best I can that it's going to come this way, but it's always a risk over here at Schiphol. Ah, that's a nice A nice fact that I didn't know. Night Rider bus driver says Suparna Airlines former Yangtze River Express, hence the call sign YZR. I didn't know that. Jill Martin says hi, good day. Janet has to go again. It was a pleasure having you around again. Happy Easter. Hopefully see you again soon. And bye for now then. So let's see. There are still planes that look to be moving to runway 27. At least 2 more. The question is, how long is the runway going to stay open for? Looking on the app that shows, or at least should show, current runway usage, it says that 27 is still open together with runway 18 right. I can still see a couple of planes flying towards it. 737-900 from KLM, from Budapest inbound. Easyjet inbound from Geneva, Embraer 175 inbound from Toulouse. They all seem to be flying towards runway 27. Now there's also traffic coming this way, so don't worry people, but I think the first plane will be the Embraer 175 inbound from Norwich, and that is almost near the west coast, so that's still just under 10 minutes out, I would guess. Now, the 747 from Suparna, currently still flying in the vicinity of Meppel, just crossing 18,000 feet and descending. Still too early to say to which runway it's going to go to. They are all flying towards Lelystad initially, but then if they go to 27 they continue in a southwestern heading, and if they are going to land on this runway they will bank to the right and fly west. Now, for the first time around I see a police patrol car also driving along the cycling path. Always good to see friendly folks of the Dutch police, making sure that everything stays safe. Little friendly wave. So, still too early to tell where the 747 is going to go to. I'm also interested to see what the KLM inbound from Vienna is going to do, because it's now flying over Lelystad and it seems to be on a westerly course. If it's going to stay flying west, it means that probably the Embraer 175 from Toulouse, inbound from Toulouse, might be the last airplane to land on runway 27, and that it's going to close again after that. Hey Joe, thank you so much for your kind donation. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, my friend. Enrico Leusink also standing along the Polderbaan. Awesome. A lot of people over here in Infinite Flight Suriname just walked past me. So many people over here. Wouldn't be surprised that a lot of people were seeing me and were figuring out, hey, is there a live stream going on? Let's look on the internet, on YouTube. Hey, but I have good news, people. If I look at the KLM 737 that is inbound from Vienna in the vicinity of Lelystad, it now seems to be flying west. So I think that Schiphol is going to close runway 27 again in a few moments after the last planes now approaching it have landed. So I think we are lucky, and will also the chances of us seeing the Suparna 747 have increased dramatically by seeing the flight pattern of the 737 from KLM, because that is now coming this way. So I am pretty sure that the runway 27 is going to close again in a few minutes. Fairy Princess says, I've been pronouncing Schiphol incorrectly. Well, in English you say Schiphol, but in Dutch you say Schiphol, and with a sound that you don't have in another language, I think, other than in Israeli. The G, we use a very hard G. It's like clearing your throat. Very hard for non-native speakers to say it properly. But don't sweat it. When you say Schiphol or whatever, we know what you guys are talking about. Nelson checking in from Madeira. Hopefully you are having lovely weather over there. And happy Easter. Good to see you tune in. Now, we are still waiting for the next airplane to arrive, but it will become visible shortly. And it's going to be an Embraer 175 inbound from Norwich from KLM. 6 years old. First flight was in July 2016. And it looks like the 737-800 from Vienna might be next, or it's going to be the 737-800 inbound from Lisbon. Always a bit hard to estimate beforehand what the exact order is going to be. But the upside is, I'm pretty sure that this is once again the only runway for arrivals. So the Suparna Queen, very likely to come this way, probably in 15 or 20 minutes or so. Always a bit hard to estimate how long exactly it's going to take. Flight radar estimations are not always accurate. They say it's expected in 5 minutes, but then they are still 10 minutes out or so. So don't judge too much on what it says. At least when it comes to Schiphol. Right. Nice wheelie. Look at that. It was a very gentle drop of the nose gear onto the ground. As per company instruction, you would almost think they are keeping up the speed to get to the gate as quickly as possible. Now, we are having to wait. We do have to wait a little bit. And it seems that the plane inbound from Vienna is going to be the next one to arrive, and it's going to be followed by the one inbound from Lisbon, 2 KLM 737-800s. Don't see any traffic going to runway 27 anymore. The Suparna 747 is also coming this way. So once again, this is the only runway for arrivals. First up and now turning final is KLM flight 1846. KLM Boeing 737-800 inbound from Vienna in Austria. The airplane 4 years old. First flight was in March 2019, and after that we will see KLM flight 1694. Another 737-800 from KLM inbound from Lisbon in Portugal. That's a bit older, 23 years old. First flight was in April 1999. And I think we will see an Easyjet A320 as number 3. Inbound from Belfast, A320-200, 11 years old. First flight February 2012. And it seems that the 747 from Suparna, inbound from Hefei, will be next. And Infinity, it is certainly busy over here at the cycling path. You can tell it's a Sunday, the weather is decent, people want to go out. Polderbaan, of course, open for business. So a lot of people that are thinking of going out and spot some airplanes. And why not? So for those of you who are new to the channel, if you're liking what you're seeing, consider subscribing to the channel. It greatly helps me to reach more people like you and me, but it also allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, like for instance tomorrow, you receive a notification, and if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again for more action from over here at Schiphol. Meanwhile, I am standing in the sun again, if only for a few moments. One of the few, and it's gone again. Yeah, so that was only a very, very temporary moment of sunshine. Mostly overcast still, although I do see a few openings between the clouds here and there. Now, there's no precipitation expected for today, but tomorrow, later during the day, we are expecting a depression with a lot of rain to come in from the west. Hence why I want to go out tomorrow morning. In the meantime, there are now 3 ducks over here fishing for food. A whole bunch of friends probably. In the meantime, the next airplane is showing itself. Am I able to pick it up on my little screen as well? Should be able to see it. There it is. Alright, so if I recall correctly, there's still an Easyjet Airbus coming first, and then, yeah, so first up is going to be the Easyjet A320 inbound from Belfast, 11 years old, first flight February 2012, and then the 747-400 from Suparna Airlines inbound from Hefei. And is that the same one as yesterday? Because this one is also 31 years old, first flight August 1991, and if I recall correctly, one of the two that we saw yesterday was aged similarly, August 1991.
Oglądać sobie tam z bliska. Bo najlepiej to byłoby...
Road dog confirming that it is the same one as yesterday. I think we also saw the chocolate cake special livery from German Airways 2 days in a row as well yesterday, but I think we also saw it on Friday, the DAPRI, if I recall correctly. And there was also some discussion yesterday in the chat about whether or not Emirates has several airplanes with the destination Dubai livery. And as a matter of fact, I think they do. I'm almost certain that they do. Because I did use one of the destination Dubai liveried A380s in one of my thumbnails during one of my earlier streams. And looking back at the thumbnail, I could see that the nose was fully pink, or no, not pink, purple or blue or whatever the color might be. But it didn't have a white clown's nose, if you will, and the one we saw yesterday did. So unless they changed the nose cone during maintenance in the meantime, I'm thinking it is a different airplane. But to know for sure, I would have to look at the registrations, of course. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another Queen, Suparna Airlines, inbound from Hefei. 31 years old, this airplane. So treat the lady with respect. It is an aging lady. And I'm not saying that 31 years is old, because I'm older myself, but for airplanes, it is not exactly brand new again. Meanwhile, Stephen and Mats confirming there are in fact several variations of the destination Dubai special livery A380s from Emirates. Interesting with these 747-400s is how everything is shaking when they are braking. You can also see it on the A380 that the elevators are wobbling up and down and shaking. And with the 747 you can also clearly see, particularly the inner part of the flaps, really shaking up and down, back and forth. Don't see that as much on other airplane types, at least. That's not something that I clearly remember having seen. Now I'm thinking, but we haven't seen a lot of A330s touching down today. Yesterday, with all the departures, it was constantly seeing A330s, but haven't seen a lot of them today. Hey Yorkshire Biker, sorry to see you go, but I'm sure we will meet again pretty soon. Enjoy Easter if we don't speak to each other again before then. But otherwise, enjoy the day, enjoy Easter, and without a doubt I will see you soon again. So let me see what is coming next. Well, speaking about A330s, we have one coming this way, not too far away, inbound from Istanbul, from Turkish. Was flying base and will most likely turn final shortly. Gotta love those big engines. They are so massive compared to the fuselage size. No reversers for this one. Another high-speed landing roll, if you can call it that. Now, the next plane already visible, at least the landing lights are visible. Always a bit tricky for the camera to pick it up. Can it get the focus like so? No, we'll have to do the trick to the ground and then quickly back up again. But there you go. This would be Transavia flight 5664 inbound from Gran Canaria, the Canary Islands. So that's about 4 hours away. Yeah, 4 hours, 13 minutes ago she departed. Boeing 737-800, 7 years old, first flight February 2016. Now there's an Embraer 190 coming after that. And after that, the Turkish A330. Right, next plane, I don't see it visually just yet, so that gives me a few moments to look at flight radar and zoom out a bit further. CRJ, A320, 737, looking to the east, over Germany, Dreamliner, Kenya Airways, also coming this way. And the 747 from Atlas Air, also coming this way. ETA 36 minutes, now flying over London. So that's nice. We can also see the Atlas Queen in a half an hour. Now let's see further out what's coming this way. So Kenya Airways, Dreamliner, and the Atlas Air 747. And of course a bunch of narrow body stuff. And number 2 will be an A330 from Turkish, inbound from Istanbul. Nelson says KLM has many Embraers, and I think we had this discussion earlier in one of the streams, and I think maybe it was Rick who said they had 64 or so in total. So yeah, absolutely, KLM has a ton of Embraers, absolutely. Now taking the first exit, let me quickly go back because the A330 is already getting closer. Hence the first exit, vacating the runway in time. Meanwhile, I can also hear an airplane that is higher up, departing, flying to the north, to the west of me. It's already above the clouds, so not able to see what kind of airplane it is. Lovely tulip just behind the wings on the fuselage. Of course, the season for tulips to bloom. Now it does seem to be getting a bit less crowded over here, but still very much a busy afternoon here. Hey Evan, good morning my friend. How's life in California, my friend? Thank you for your donation, man. Really, you shouldn't have, honestly. But thank you nonetheless. And don't apologize for missing streams, my friend. You can always look them back. The upside is that the highlights of the streams are timestamped. Today, you missed the Super if you just tuned in. We also had 2 747s already, but we are, or is it 3? I think maybe even 3. And there's another one coming this way, ETA less than half an hour, so in that sense you are still in time to see the Atlas Air 747 that is now flying towards the Netherlands and is still over England. Let me also take a sip of water. But Evan, don't apologize for missing streams, my friend. Same goes for everybody, also the mods, you're there when you feel like it and you have the time for it. Don't show up if you have other obligations or if you're not feeling like it. There's absolutely no need for anybody to feel that they need to show up. That would be ridiculous. This is not a job, people. This is something to enjoy. It's entertainment. Aer Lingus. Now it's interesting that they did stick with green but chose a different color green than their old livery to create their new livery with. I mean, KLM, if you look at KLM blue, it has always been KLM blue. Yes, they changed the color scheme a little bit and a straight line becomes a curve, but KLM blue has always been KLM blue as far as I can remember. And it's interesting that Aer Lingus chose to do it differently. Night Rider Bus Drivers remarks that the Nippon Cargo Airlines 747 is 2 hours 50 minutes out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to stick around for that. That will be too long for me, particularly given the fact that I also intend to go out again tomorrow morning local time, because there's rain predicted later during the day. So I will be looking to do a morning stream. But we are waiting for an Atlas Air 747 that was over London a few minutes ago. It's now underway to Amsterdam. For those of you tuning in later, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy and this is the Polderbaan. It is runway 18 right, currently again the only runway used for arrivals. Earlier we also had runway 27 active temporarily. What wind there is, because there isn't a lot of wind, it is blowing from the southeast. So these planes land in southern direction, meaning that there is a little bit of crosswind from the left for the arriving airplanes. Not a whole lot, so no crabbing. And certainly no go-arounds under these weather conditions. Temperature wise, it is approximately 12, 13, 14 degrees centigrade, so in the mid 50s to 60 approximately. Inbound next, Lufthansa CRJ, operated by Lufthansa City Line. Inbound from Munich, CRJ 900 long range. Underway now for just over an hour. Airplane is 13 years old. First flight was in August 2009. Now, let's have a look. Now the Boeing 747 from Atlas Air, or at least the livery is Atlas Air, now just leaving mainland England, crossing the North Sea. What else is underway? A lot of narrow bodies. In the meantime, over to the east, the Kenya Airways Dreamliner from Nairobi, inbound from Nairobi, has also just crossed the border with Germany. And if I look around the Netherlands, there are mostly narrow bodies underway at the moment. Now, the CRJ from Lufthansa touching down just now. exit over here. A little bit of sun over there. Temporarily a bit more sun. There are a few more openings here in the clouds. Only a few. Most of the weather is still overcast. I haven't basked in the sun except for that one moment not too long ago and during the beginning of the stream. So the next airplane to come in is going to be an Easyjet in the Europcar livery inbound from Edinburgh. 4 years old, first flight was in September 2018. A320neo. Another A320neo is coming in from the east, Austrian Airlines, inbound from Vienna. Now, this is the only runway in use for the arrivals. Departures. For departures now 2 runways are in use, 18 left and runway 24. So we have a bit of a lull at the moment, but from all directions several planes are coming towards us. So it won't be long before we will see some traffic again. First one is going to be the Easyjet A320neo inbound from Edinburgh, which is now almost near the coast, still far out. Unfortunately, with current visibility, I won't be able to track it well in advance. Also seems to be doing a regular traffic pattern, which means that it's going to turn final further to the north than I can see with my camera, unfortunately. Good moment to top up on hydration. I will have to look back to see the first officer waving lands. Didn't see it. That's the downside of operating the camera. You are looking at a little 3-inch screen that also often has reflection from the weather on top of it. I will definitely look back the stream, as I always do, also to see if I missed anything going on in the live chat. So if I look at flight radar, the A320 from Easyjet is about to turn final. I don't see anything visually yet, so I'm unable to show you guys anything already. I do feel that the wind is picking up a little bit. Let me also do an update of the weather. If you look on flight radar, you can see Several planes are now underway. The 747 inbound from Miami also starting to get closer and closer by. Now current temperature is 14 degrees centigrade, so that is 58 Fahrenheit. Wind has turned a little more to the south, 150 degrees, 8 knots. I'm going to update the ticker with the latest METAR as we speak, so you guys can also see all the details without having to check flight radar for it. Departures 24 and 18 left. So I've heard nobody remark anything about the video stuttering or that the sound was bad. Hopefully it means that nothing weird was going on today so far. Hopefully the crackling will also be gone with the contraption I devised for it earlier this week. The wind thus far, since I came up with it, has not yet been so hard that I am able to say with certainty whether or not it is working. Now in the meantime, the Neo from Edinburgh is only just visible in the distance. Yeah, I am able to pick it up somewhat. Still only a speck in the distance, but soon approaching. So again, Easyjet Europcar livery inbound from Edinburgh. Flight time now an hour. A320-200 Neo, 4 years old. First flight was in September 2018. And it seems like another Neo is going to be next from Austrian Airlines, inbound from Vienna. Meanwhile, several people confirming that everything is great, spot on. Happy to hear that, fellas. I noticed yesterday, looking back at the stream, that the bitrate seemed a bit low, looking at the time I streamed and the size of the video that I also always record on my laptop hard disk. The size was smaller than normal. Now the downside with Ecamm Live that I'm using to do my streaming with, or at least to pump the stream to YouTube, you can only pick the resolution, so 1080, and the frame rate, but you cannot pick the bit rate. It does it automatically, so I think it depends on the bandwidth available at that time. Now I'd imagine that when weather conditions are bad, or maybe if there are a lot of people in the vicinity, as would be the case today, that maybe there is more interference and that the signal, the Wi-Fi signal, is poorer than under different conditions. Seems to be a factor that I cannot influence that much. I did notice that it seemed to be a bit lower quality than otherwise would be the case, and it was confirmed by the smaller file size of the streaming video that I did yesterday. I think it was still okay all in all. I mean, it wasn't very blocky. I already learned quickly that having other internet using applications open on my laptop while streaming, such as flight radar via a browser, that seriously interferes with the bandwidth that is available for streaming. So hence I only use my computer for streaming, and all the other things I have on my telephone, which has its own data signal. Otherwise, the stream would get very blocky. So we are now waiting for the next airplane to arrive. Not yet sure if it's going to be the A320neo from Austrian, inbound from Vienna, or maybe if it is going to be the Royal Air Maroc. It should be somewhere to the left of me. I'm looking to see if I can see it, but don't see it just yet. Because it is flying a bit more inland than the normal route would be, but it is still at 2700 feet, so I think it's not going to do a short circuit and a quick turn. Really desperately looking to see if I can see it, but don't yet. So I'm thinking that the A320neo from Austrian, inbound from Vienna, is going to be the first one to arrive. Should be entering final from the right. Looking to see if visually I can see anything, but cannot make it up. I think visibility is too poor for that today. So yeah, according to flight radar, the Neo from Austrian has now turned final, so if it turns the lights on, it should become visible in a few moments. Don't see it visually yet. So this is an A320neo that we are expecting. Brand new, was delivered in August last year, inbound from Vienna. Sunglasses livery, or at least sunglasses cockpit windows by the looks of it. If I look at the picture visible on flight radar, I see the lights just about. No. Let me see. On my 3-inch camera screen I don't see a lot. Let me go back to the laptop. Do you guys see it? Cannot see it. Ah! Lance has to go, but thanks for telling me where exactly I need to look for the waving co-pilot. I will definitely have a look. And no crackling. Sunday roast with no crackling. Yesterday I came home from streaming and somebody had the barbecue on already. I was thinking it was a bit early in the season already to be barbecuing, or at least you can of course do barbecue but not sit outside and sit in the sun. Okay, now I think you guys should be seeing it as well. Well, Lance, see you again next time. If not tomorrow, then undoubtedly sometime soon. Enjoy your Sunday and Easter, and see you soon, my friend. So things are picking up again a little bit. At the moment there are 5 airplanes in the vicinity, one of which is the Dreamliner from Kenya Airways. So the Neo from Austrian is first, and after that we will see the Boeing 737-800 from Royal Air Maroc, flight 850, inbound from Casablanca. 737-800, that is 11 years old. First flight was in November 2011. Now, don't know yet. I think that the Transavia 737 is going to be number 3. Almost certain of it. Coming in from Greece, Thessaloniki, or, well, it says HV, but it says Alba Star if I click on it. Anyway, let me quickly go back to the camera and zoom in now that there is something visible that we can zoom into. You can already see the sunglasses cockpit windows. I always find that a very sleek look. And you can see that there is sun out there where the airplane was just now. Over here, still nothing. You can see it in the grass in the foreground. It's all in the shade still. Now, already slowed down a lot. Also not a whole lot of reverse thrust audible. Now, let's quickly turn around the camera because the next plane is already visible again. We've had a bit of a lull just now, but now it is more back-to-back action again. So this is the Royal Air Maroc inbound from Casablanca, 11 years old, first flight November 2011. No. Gentle touchdown. Keeping up the speed relatively. Now if there's anybody in the chat that speaks Arabic, I'm curious to learn what it says under the windows before the wing. There's also Royal Air Maroc in Arabic, or is it saying something differently? Do let us know if you know. Now, next up, the Transavia / Alba Star 737 inbound from Thessaloniki, Greece. It is an older airplane, 23 years old. First flight was in January 2000, so first flight was coincided with the beginning of this millennium. And century. And decade. Well, no, not this decade. Very gentle touchdown. Another high-speed passage there. Meanwhile, it seems that the sun is about to come out over here. Who knows, it might get a bit spring-like over here. Now, I have been operating the camera throughout the afternoon without gloves on, but they are getting a bit chilly at the moment. Just because they are constantly exposed to the wind, the little wind that there is, and somewhat lower temperatures. Inbound next, KLM flight 1081, inbound from London Heathrow. It's an E2 Embraer 195. Can the camera focus it? Focus on it? Yes, it can. No reversers used. Wait a minute. Did I see that correctly? It looked like the left engine did have reversers on. I thought I saw it close again just now, but I didn't see any reversers on the right hand side. Or am I now hallucinating and in dire need of coffee? Because I really could have sworn that the left valve, if you can call it that, stayed shut, and the right one, no, the right one stayed shut and the left one was open. Anyway, Kenya Airways, inbound from Nairobi, Dreamliner 7878, 8 years old. First flight was in September 2014. Now, let me have a look at Flight Radar, because it cannot be that long anymore before the 747 is going to come this way. And it is actually next, so let me turn around the camera quickly. Ah, she's already visible. So this is Queen 4 or 5 already. We've seen a couple of them already. So once again, Atlas Air, inbound from Miami, 747-400 freighter. She's 23 years old. First flight was in April 1999. Now once I get home, I am going to timestamp all of the highlights again. All the Queens, the Emirates A380, everything that we've seen happen. If I can find the waving co-pilot, I will also timestamp it, because I completely missed that bit. So if you guys tune in later, we have had several 747s before. This afternoon also a delayed Emirates A380. Rest assured, before the end of the day I will have all the highlights timestamped in a comment below the video, so if you want to look back the highlights you can do so without having to browse for it yourself. Beautiful, and the livery also seems very clean, as in not a lot of smudginess that you sometimes see on those older airplanes. So even though it is a 23-year-old airplane, the livery still looks relatively fresh. Now folks, if you guys liked what you saw and you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure that when you do, to turn on notifications, so that whenever I go live in the future you receive a heads up and can join us once again for more action from Schiphol. It also greatly helps me to reach more people like you and me who are also into content like this. So make sure to give a like and subscribe if you are liking what you've seen so far. Next stream I will be doing will be tomorrow morning local time. Currently the weather is still good, but we are expecting precipitation in the course of the afternoon tomorrow. So I will be going out again tomorrow morning. Don't know yet exactly what time, don't know yet exactly to which runway. That's all, of course, very much weather dependent. Yesterday, for instance, we started the day with fog. If that is going to be the case tomorrow, then obviously an early stream is not going to be possible. Cafe Spotter, in the meantime, also joining us. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, at least. The sun is getting out here, so what better than looking at 747s in the sun. A lot of people out here. I was thinking exactly the same thing, Kuni. Big car wash that they have for the 747, because it looked squeaky clean. Really brand new. I mean, I have a car that is also approaching 23 years of... No, not yet. Not even 20 years. No. It definitely doesn't look as shiny anymore as the Atlas Air 747 of just now. Now, we are in luck in that the clouds are opening up a little bit. I'm standing in the sunshine myself actually, and you can see that the sun is also illuminating the livery of this Easyjet Airbus. So that is a very warm welcome here at the end of the day, or at least the end of the afternoon, I should say. Now the Easyjet Airbus here, taking the first exit away from the runway. Are they doing that because next traffic is inbound already? Don't see it yet. I do see a flock of birds flying in a nice pattern. Let me see if I can show you guys. Where are they? There they are. Not a very big flock, but still lovely to see. Every time you see such a thing. Okay. Back to where the airplanes are coming from, and let me have a look. Alright, let me pinch out and see what is visible on Flight Radar. It seems that things are slowing down a little bit. Not a whole lot going on at the moment. There are a few planes still inbound. I see 3 flying over Belgium. Also more close by, there are 2 inbound ITA Airways coming in from Rome. Airbus A380, also a Transavia inbound from Riga, Baltic states. Now a little further out there is another 737 from Norwegian coming in the Gidsken Jakobsen livery. So who knows, another grumpy man with or without a mustache possibly. So I think I am going to stick around for those first 3 airplanes. Let me see. So yeah, there are 2 now close by, and I also want to see the face or the picture of the person on the Norwegian 737, but I think I am going to wrap it up after that. It is slowing down a little bit, and I think it's best then to call it a day and be back at it tomorrow morning. And also some Saabists in the chat, people who still are riding Saabs. Interesting. They are still garagists that you can go to for maintenance of the Saabs, I think. They always have been somewhat special compared to other brands. Never driven one myself, but they are always very recognizable. Now in the meantime, the first of the 3 airplanes is flying base just past Purmerend and is going to turn final in a few moments. Now it is still far out north in the sense that it's too far out for me to capture it already when it's flying base, I think. I think it's just too far out. What is it, 20 kilometers or so perhaps to the north? So that's out of reach for my camera to pick up. It will only be a few more minutes and then it is going to turn final, and once it has the lights on we can see it as well. Now following it not far behind is the Transavia inbound from Riga, and not far behind these 2 airplanes is the Norwegian, although it is a bit further behind. Now the ITA Airways is turning final. It is an A319 inbound from Rome after a flight of 1 hour and 56 minutes. She will land in a few minutes. According to flight radar, still 20 kilometers out, so that is 12 miles or so, I think. The airplane is 11 years old. First flight was in November 2011, and it is the normal livery for ITA Airways, so that's the beautiful blue. Just checking. Am I missing other traffic that is coming in? Not so much, although the Aero Mexico Dreamliner inbound from Mexico City is also getting closer by. Descending as we speak over the North Sea, still just passing, just below 22,000 feet, midway approximately between England and the Netherlands, so it's still quite far out. There's also a Geodis Air Network A330 coming this way, operated by Titan Airways, inbound from London Stansted. Now that's definitely a plane you don't see every day or very often. Maybe it's something to do later in the year. Of course, the days are lengthening, and that means that evening streams are also becoming ever more feasible. Now, if the temperatures rise even further and the day lengthens even longer, I'm definitely interested in also doing some evening streams. convenient for the people watching from the United States and Canada and from South America, because then it's going to be a daytime stream for them and they don't have to wake up early for it or need to be awake early in the morning or pull an all-nighter to see the footage, or at least be present while we're live. Now, let me see, I think I do see the Gita Airways in the distance visually, and I think I'm also making it up. I can pick it up over here, yeah. And behind it is the Transavia inbound from Riga, Boeing 737-800, and that is a 23-year-old airplane that was delivered, or no, first flight was in April 2000, so that's a bit older. Meanwhile, I feel the wind in my back being more pronounced than during the beginning of the stream. So normally there's wind during the day, and as the sun is getting lower above the horizon, the wind subsides. Now the wind is actually picking up as it gets later in the day. Now I'm happy that the sun is out at this moment because it beautifully illuminates this beautiful livery. Even when the sun isn't shining, I always find it a very pretty livery, pretty dark blue, but the sun shining on it definitely makes it even a tad better. Now, still on the runway, but vacating it undoubtedly in a moment. As we speak, that's what's happening. Now, we are waiting for the next plane, the Transavia, that is inbound from Riga. And Kathleen says that Norwegian will be a woman on the tail. Okay. There you go. Let's see if it's a grumpy woman then, and if she has a mustache or not. You never know. Just saying. These days everything is possible. Or maybe even a beard. Alright. And Cathay Spotter asks if I need an additional mod. Well, at the moment I think we have 4 or 5 people moderating. So far I haven't had a stream yet without at least one, typically 2 or 3, if not more, of the mods are always there. So thus far I think I'm covered, but if you're offering, I'll gladly keep you in the back of my mind if at some point it does become a necessity to expand the moderator team. But I think for now, with people that are now moderating, we manage so far. But thanks for thinking along, and thanks for offering. Now, there is a bit of discussion between several peoples about people about what is the best shade of blue. Is it KLM blue or is it ETA Airways blue? Well, the chauvinist in me of course says that KLM blue is better, but the Azzurro, the Italian Azzurro, is also very beautiful. Okay, some background information provided by Kathleen. Gidsken Nielsen Jakobsen, born August 1st, 1908, died June 13th, 1990, was a Norwegian aviation pioneer. Alright. Well, so far I haven't had enough of you guys. Don't worry. Not by any means. One of the important reasons why I thought having mods was handy is also because, as you guys probably can tell, I am a one-man band, and it's sometimes when it's busy very hard to keep eyes out on everything. Flight radar, the chat, operating the camera. That's also a two-hand operation, so at least making sure that no spam or other trolls are entering into the chat. I'll happily leave that to capable moderators, and I think that I have a wonderful team of people that are helping me in that way, and I'm really grateful for all your support, not only from the mods but also from everybody tuning in each and every time. Really awesome. Although at the moment not as many viewers anymore as during the beginning. I perfectly understand that, which is why I'm also going to wrap it up after the Norwegian 737, because it is slowing down a bit. I think that tomorrow morning will be more bustling than right now. Don't know yet what the wind is going to be. I think the wind is going to come from the west, but I'm not sure yet if it's going to come from the southwest or northwest. I'm thinking that Polderbaan and Kaagbaan are going to be used for the traffic. Maybe also about the Velderbaan, as has been the case today, but I think the preferential runways are going to be used the most. But which runway will be used for what kind of traffic, I will see that. I will know more about that once I look at the wind forecast for tomorrow. I'm probably going to end up right over here at the Polderbaan once again, but if I'm going to stand over here for arrivals or back more to the other side for departures remains to be seen. I've said it before, Polderbaan is my favorite place to do some spotting from, because it's almost always in use, and also a very good location to have an unobstructed view on the traffic. Zootopia fan remarks that there's a Geodis A380 also coming this way. Yeah, that's the thing, there's always a next plane in not too long, and that way you can keep postponing wrapping it up indefinitely. That's the not indefinitely, because soon enough we will not be having any night flights anymore at Schiphol, but I think I've had a good run for today, 3 hours or so. Looking to go back again tomorrow morning. I think Bart from V1 Aviation might also be streaming at the moment, a bit further down the runway, so make sure you check if maybe he is in the air as well. He definitely arrived to the scene later than I did, so if he is live streaming, might be that he is still in the air for the A330 from Gidsken. So in the meantime, the Norwegian 737 has arrived and is about to touch down. Now let's see if this aviation pioneer on the tail is grumpy as most of the men have been so far. Maybe a smirky smile. I think it was just something that you did in those days, not smile when a picture was taken. So anyway, folks, I am going to wrap it up. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me once again. Thanks to all the people who kindly donated super chats, super stickers, memberships. Thank you all so much for your support. Really, really, really appreciate it. And I want to thank each and every one of you for that. I'm going back again tomorrow morning. I think I'm thinking about 9 to 9:30 a.m. local time. Yeah, I'll let you guys know once I've decided where I'm going to go to and what time I'm going to set up. If you guys are there again, see you tomorrow. If not, then I wish you a very happy Easter and hopefully see you guys again soon. And for now, have a nice Sunday, be safe, and hopefully see you guys soon. Bye for now, folks.